Hi, this is Kiran Mandral. I'm the Ideas Editor at She the People TV, and today we are going to be talking about traditional foods in the time of COVID-19 with two wonderful ladies who have been pioneers in their own spaces in this field of food. I'd like to bring on first Gauri Devi Dayal, who's a restaurateur who has been innovating all sorts of wonderful cuisines, who's brought farm to fork to our tables and to our food lexicon. Welcome, Gauri.
Hi,
How
thank
has
you for
it
having me.
been, Gauri, dealing with uncertainties in times of COVID and the various things that have happened? How has it forced you to change what you've been doing so far? You just spoke to us about, we were just chatting earlier about how Scootsie has become something you brought on board.
Hi everyone, and thank you for having me. It's definitely bizarre times for sure, but honestly, and especially for our industry, which there's no scope to work from home, so to speak. So it's definitely a complete shutdown for us, but I think it's also because it's a 24/7 kind of work that we do. um, this is sort of this forced downtime has actually been quite wonderful personally. So I think it's the first time I've really switched off in 10 years and
So,
genuinely. So yeah.
so the switch off is good. The switch off part is
Well, the
good.
switch off, personal switch off is good. I'm not so sure about the work switch off, but it is what it is. So
Lovely. And our second speaker for today, we have Nandita Iyer. We know her as Saffron Trail. She's a blogger, she's a food expert, she's also a qualified doctor. Welcome aboard, Nandita.
Hi everybody. Hi Kiran. Hi Gauri.
hi.
So, Nandita, tell us, how are you doing with this downtime during COVID? Or is it much the same for you because you work from home?
Yeah, I'm mostly working from home, and given the state of Bangalore traffic, I anyway dread going out even on regular days. So, it's now there's no traffic, but there's the lockdown, so life hasn't changed too much. But yeah, there's a lot more focus, and I guess it's just that we're being a lot more grateful for little things. We're realizing the value of a lot of things that we've often taken for granted. And I think, yeah, I do get into this introspection mode during these days that, you know, literally everything that we take for granted can be just taken away from us, at a moment's notice. So that's
Absolutely.
what it is.
That's what it is. And talking about things we take for granted, I'm going to go right to what our topic is: traditional foods. It's something we've grown up with and something we've eaten and something we sort of go back to and go away from all the time. And there's been so much talk about, how our traditional foods are actually beneficial to our health and how we don't really pay heed to the health benefits of our traditional recipes, our seasonal foods, fruits, vegetables, why some recipes are come in at a certain period of time, why we should eat them. So, Gauri, as someone who runs a restaurant and food delivery and a kitchen, and you've brought farm to fork to us. How did you incorporate traditional foods in your own menus, and how did you see people accepting them?
So I don't know about traditional foods in terms of, as a cuisine as such, because obviously, what we do is kind of more Western influenced.
Yeah.
But, for example, with our bakery, Max Street Bread Co., one of what we like to think of as a USP, given that it's like French patisserie, sort of viennoiserie, etc., is that we've only used local ingredients and tried to get the same flavors that you would get, or come as close as possible to flavors that you would get, traveling anywhere in the world, and in terms of the quality of the product, but using like 100% local ingredients. And I think that has been very sort of favorably looked on by our sort of consumers. And at the restaurant, we have a small farm that is associated with our restaurant, which is a very sort of short boat ride away, actually, from Bombay. And while we can't 100% sort of supply the restaurant's requirements, whatever we do get from there, I mean, it's literally a night and day difference in quality. And so, given that the table is associated with a very ingredient focused menu, it's sort of what we call cuisine agnostic, but it's ingredient driven. So given that, I think that, the quality of ingredients, and by that, a large part is local ingredients, is very important. And I think, using seasonal and fresh is not just a sort of trend anymore. I think people have begun to realize the quality of what comes out of something that is, being eaten at a time when it's meant to grow and meant to sort of be available, rather than something that's forced to grow faster or bigger, or and so that's something that we're seeing a growing awareness of, even amongst our diners. And of course, then that means that there's a demand for that, um, from people both at home as well as when they go out to eat.
Now, that's good to hear that there is a demand for that. And Nandita, because you put out recipes and you consult on food, have
Yeah.
you seen this happening in terms of what the readers want? Are they looking for foods that, of course, building immunity overnight, as you we just chatted, is not going to be something that happens. But have you seen a demand for traditional kind of recipes that help build immunity, that help strengthen you? Has this been a trend in recent times?
I guess that's part of an overall, health-focused trend where people have finally kind of they believe in the fact that your health depends on what you eat, and it's not just a one-off thing. Like I also said, these are all very like lifelong projects. You can't just have one salad and in like a month and then say, wow, now I've got all the nutrients and I'm healthy. It's like every day you need to work on eating healthy, on focusing on what you're eating. And I think in connecting with the current times when literally a lot of home deliveries, like, the takeaways and all, especially in our state, it stopped. The restaurant takeaways are stopped, but they're allowing food deliveries to happen. But still, because of some health concerns, and people are worried about different things like who's delivering, who's you know, because of the contact process and all that. People are more and more cooking at home these days, even though the supplies are not so much, and like with whatever is available. Because in our own community, we have a WhatsApp group for especially only for food enthusiasts. And now with so much time on their hands, people are literally cooking like crazy, like lots of fun dishes. And, everybody's inspired to see that and cook. So, more than traditional, I think it's the focus on cooking with what's available right now. And the immunity thing is a completely different thing. Like I said, it's a lifelong investment into your own health. And if I eat like a kilo of oranges today, it's not going to protect me from corona tomorrow. But it's about being conscious about your food on a daily basis, and eating what's in season, eating fresh, and also the season thing, because especially in India, you literally get everything around the year. So it's very difficult to even say what's in season anymore. But yeah, especially sometimes you see that certain vegetables and fruits are like really cheap and they're available in huge quantities, and that's a good way of telling that it is in season now. Because otherwise, you literally get cauliflower and mangoes, and very few months in which they are not available. So it's tough to say what is in season actually. But as long as you're getting something fresh, you know that it's grown in a conscious way, and as far as possible organic or whatever that is easily available to you also, and you use that in your daily cooking, and you put some effort into cooking mindfully and know what's going into that dish. I think that's a good place to start.
Absolutely, that's very interesting. And also, I'd like to get Gauri into this conversation after you, Gauri, because cooking mindfully, that is something that we do at home. But is that something that you take to the restaurant as well? I mean, when you're planning your menus, when you're deciding what you're going to be offering in terms of the season's menu, is mindful cooking part of the process, there is farm to fork, there is a focus on fresh ingredients, there's a focus on nutrition. How does it work for you?
No, I mean, for sure, it's, I think even if you're not trying to be a health focused restaurant per se, I think that, you can be mindful in terms of, for example, the quality of ingredients that you use. I mean, restaurants today are such a, a price sensitive industry, and, it's very low margins, whether people believe that or not. And, there's always a temptation to cut costs, and of course one of your biggest costs is going to be your food costs, and so it's very tempting to try and use cheaper ingredients and compromise on quality. And I think that not doing that is kind of what's held us in good stead. At least we're in our sort of 10th year of operations now. And I feel that, again, not just diners, but I think restaurateurs are also, and chefs are realizing the value of not compromising on quality, because it is what diners expect as well. And I think they're incorporating that, like I said, not just in their what they eat out at meals at, but also at home. And people are willing to pay now. They see the value of it, so they recognize, because they're incorporating this lifestyle into their home cooking, where they're ordering organic vegetables, or going to the farmers markets, the local farmers markets, etc. So they realize that there is a certain cost with this kind of quality, and because of the undoubted sort of benefit to your health, people also recognize that if you're getting that quality when you dine out, then you do have to pay for it. So I think that there's just a general change in attitude. And one thing that I just want to sort of add, given the sort of current bizarre situation that we find ourselves in, it's funny that obviously restaurants are closed, and people are forced to stay home. And by cooking at home, I think people are discovering, I hope, and I feel like people are discovering a whole new sort of love for cooking at home and using what's at their disposal, which isn't going to be, a full pantry necessarily. And, realizing that home food can be good as well. I know I'm probably going to get shafted by my industry colleagues for saying this, but, it's something sort of, now that we all have all the time in the world right now, I think it's something that
So,
it's great in a way that, like, there's just this discovery of even vegetables that they didn't know about, probably, or they haven't eaten before, but that's what they have, and so that's what they have to make do with, and they're making something delicious out of it. So I think I mean, this is obviously even more so again in these times, but I mean, I find, like, I'm someone who can't cook. My family sort of asks me to stay out of the kitchen as much as possible. But it's just brought us all together, because everyone is cooking, and like, my daughter's getting her a little mini crash course in cooking and vegetables while we homeschool her on other things. So it's been like a really sort of strangely interesting time when it comes to the food aspect of our current situation.
that also brings me to an interesting point. We just chatted a little bit earlier, and Nandita spoke about how, we can really get by even if we don't have vegetables and fruits available, given what we do traditionally have in the Indian pantry. So, Nandita, could you just tell us what we need, the bare minimum that any pantry needs to stock up on in terms to get through 3 meals a day? While
So I think we are kind of lucky in Indian cuisine that a lot of dry ingredients, like what's stocked in your pantry, we can actually get by a couple of weeks with just that. And add to that, if you have onions and potatoes and garlic, which is also stored outside usually, and with all that put together, we can easily have like 3 meals a day without having to shop for much. And given that even bread is not available, but if you have stocked up on things like poha or rava, those kind of ingredients, you can easily, or even besan, you can have a breakfast, even without bread, and even if you don't have cereal. So I think so a few breakfast items like rava poha, and there's vermicelli, which is semia, and these are the few things for breakfast. Then if you look at main meals, there's some basic varieties of dal to start with, tur dal, and any other varieties like chana dal or masoor dal. So even if you have a little bit of everything, and then of course there's rice. So you can literally make not just rice and dal dishes, but also you soak the rice and dal, and you can make something like an adai when you grind it together, which is like a thicker variety of dosa. So these can also be had for main meals because they're very filling. So I think there's lots of options to go by, and even I think I before everything happened, I stocked up on some tea and coffee because that's that there's no substitute for that. But I just like having a basic like atta, rice, and few varieties of dal, then few varieties of bean legumes like rajma and kabuli chana and green moong. You can literally make salads with them, soups with them. You can use them for filling, wraps and sandwiches and literally anything. So they're so versatile, and not just in Indian cuisine, but also you can make so many other different things with that. So, and these are everyday ingredients in an Indian kitchen. It's nothing fancy like green moong and everything. People usually have it at home, and mix and match things and make khichdi or one pot meals, because right now literally everyone is managing the cleaning, the cooking, and everything on their own. So the last thing you want is to cook three meals and to keep washing up after every meal, because actually with all our Indian pots and pans, even a dishwasher I'm finding is not of much use, because I use it mostly after a party when I have too many glasses, but now nobody's partying anyway, so it's just like washing everything with your hands. So one pot meals to the rescue, and all these ingredients are very good for one pot meals also. Like you can make a pulao with chana dal, and or you can add kabuli chana to it. So many things. So I think a lot of food bloggers and cookbook authors are doing these tips on Instagram and stuff. Like I'm personally sharing my menu every morning, like what am I going to cook for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So even if it's not for today, tomorrow somebody else will get inspiration from that and make a version of that. So I feel rather blessed that we have so many ingredients in our Indian cuisine to get by. That even if I
Absolutely.
didn't have vegetables, I could just make do with onion, potato, garlic, tomato, whatever is available.
That's very interesting, and because you come from a restaurant perspective, Gauri, and ingredients are much more elaborate and much more extensive than what we have available right now. But to everyone who's listening back at home and who is we are obviously in lockdown and we are not getting a lot. But what are the one pot meals that you would recommend? With traditional ingredients, with that can be rustled up without too much of a fuss, and which can be as good as a restaurant. If,
God, that's a really loaded question. No, I think I don't know, but restaurant or non-restaurant, I think everyone just craves delicious food, and it's not about it being you know restaurant grade or not. I think we've been eating a lot of just one pot meals. So like whether it's a salad, a really great salad with everything that's available, and if it's sorry, and if it's even like just like Nandita mentioned, like a khichdi, like a really good khichdi is something that and it was actually very interesting because sorry, it was very interesting because we were listening to what the finance minister had said, and the staple that obviously everyone's being given is um, uh, like either rice or wheat and dal. So there's like that is the thing that everyone
Right.
is used to cooking with, and whether you're making a dosa, whether you're making chilla, whether you're making there's just plenty, like Nandita was saying, to do. And so uh, I, I don't think that we need to be competing with restaurants right now. I think it's more coming up with good, nutritious,
Yeah.
filling, delicious food.
Yes, absolutely. To get back to immunity, since that's like on everyone's thoughts right now, even though we may not really get to full immunity with all the foods, and it'll take a lot of rejigging for us to, boost our immunity with food right now in this situation. But having said that, what are the foods you think that we need to rediscover and fall in love with again to stay strong? Maybe not now, but for the future.
I think my one thing is definitely amla because during the course of research that I've done for my books, there's something called ORAC score, ORAC. So it's the amount of antioxidants that are present in every food, and this is like a sheet which lists down all the foods with their antioxidant values. And the amla, the gooseberry, the Indian amla, which is there, it has nearly 50 times the ORAC score of blueberries, more than 50 times. So we can imagine that it's kind of underrated, and people, say, okay, what's an amla? But and everyone loves blueberries because they're interesting, and you can make fun stuff with that. And amla you can eat as it is, or you can make a pickle or candied amla or whatever. So it's not glamorous, but certain Indian foods like these, and it's also available in a transition of seasons where people tend to fall sick. So I think the fact that it's availability and the nutrition that's available in that, and the time during which it becomes available makes it a very very valuable food to include in our diet. And maybe find more innovative ways to use it, because not everyone can make an amla pickle or something. So maybe grate it in a salad, or add grate it in a salad dressing for the tart flavor, or add it to your smoothies, or you use it in a combination of vegetable and fruit juice. So different ways in which we can eat it, and that is definitely one. And the second, I don't need to tell you, turmeric or haldi, which is like pretty much global superstar right now. Uh, but yeah, that is one thing. I'm literally using double haldi in everything. I don't care how it looks, because these days I just want to make sure that we eat it every day, but might as well eat a little more of it, because it definitely has those antioxidant. A good potential to prevent a lot of inflammation and stuff. So it's nothing out of our diet, because anyway we are going to add it in a khichdi or a pulao or whatever it is. So I just add a little more. Uh, so either include something new, or increase the quantity of something that you're already eating and you know it's good for you. So those are two ways to actually implement. And third, of course, things like oranges are in season now, grapes are in season. You're getting even pomegranates and stuff. So whenever you get access, I'm sure in these days it's very rich to say go buy grapes and go buy pomegranate. But if you do find it and you have access to it, then make sure at least one snack a day you're eating a fruit. So that way you're ensuring that you're including a fruit consciously in your diet, not like, okay, I'm just walking by, I'm picking up something in my hand, but you know make it a meal, like at least a snack, and sit down with a bowl of peeled pomegranate and enjoy it. So I think just these little changes in your day-to-day lifestyle and your diet, it'll have like a long-term effect on making you definitely this I mean, no claims to not getting corona or anything if you eat all this, but I'm just saying that your body will be in a better state to come back from whatever it goes through, and resist any sort of infection or fight it in a better way. So that much is a given. Okay, so I think those are good things to include in your lifestyle.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That, there's no guarantees to anything anyway in today's day and times, but we can try our best to stay healthy. That's all we can do. Gauri, from you, what are the ingredients in a traditional kitchen that you think we should keep? I've asked this to Anita as well.
I
But
think Anita's kind of covered it, but I mean, one thing that I would say I've actually been doing for the longest time, and I can't sort of start my morning without it, is just like hot water with lemon, and it's a very simple sort of thing, but I think it just gets my body sort of set in the right way first thing in the morning. And of course, what they've been saying is that, incorporating a lot of vitamin C in your diet currently is highly advised. Another thing that I saw that's in season, which I love, is guava, and that's like super strong,
Yeah.
in antioxidants and vitamin C, as well as a vegetable, as a fruit. So get that while it's available. And yeah, I mean, I have about 5 cups of green tea a day. And now I've been drinking this sort of haldi green tea, which is yum. And so yeah, I mean, it, of course, incorporate it in your food as much as possible, but also, you can drink it in your tea. And everything, like whether you're having, so I just I think, just a bit of clean eating, whatever that is sort of the call of the need of the hour right now. And just be mindful of it when deciding what to eat.
Yeah, I'd just like to add one thing here. Like Gauri said, now a lot of deliveries are stopped, and people are actually saying, oh no, and the Zomato is not working, Swiggy is not delivering. But use this time to, cook for yourself and your family and invest in your own health and, learn to enjoy the process. I think we are already thrown into this, and I think it's a good opportunity to use and learn a bit of cooking skills, a little bit how to make things a little more interesting for yourself and your family. I'm sure we can get through this.
I'm sure we all will. And on that lovely note of getting through it all with our spirits high and our kitchen escapades. Hello there.
Sorry.
No worries. This is She the People. This is. Thank you, ladies, for that lovely
Thank
conversation.
you.
People are
Thank you.
and, taking part, experimenting, going back to traditional foods, getting in their pomegranates and govas and haldi doodh and all of it back to their tables. And all the very best
Stay
for our
safe. Yeah.
Bye bye. Thank you.
bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.